Hey book lovers, welcome back to Timeless Tales with Ophelia. I'm Ophelia Adler, your resident passionate book Vtuber, light novel enthusiast and professional book hoarder. No, but seriously, send help, my shelves are threatening to collapse. Ah! I'm here bringing you reviews, recommendations, and extremely long-winded bookish rants sometimes because, like, be honest, some stories just deserves a dramatic deep dive sometimes. This channel is all about the cozy and wholesome vibes, but today we're diving headfirst into pure emotional devastation. So buckle up because we're talking about Manacled, or like I want to call it, the fanfiction who took my soul, ripped it into shreds, and then tenderly taped it back together with emotional damage. There's some books that makes you laugh, then there's some books that make you cry, and then, well, now we have Manacled. A fanfiction so devastating, it should come with its own therapy fund. I went in thinking, oh, it's just a Harry Potter fanfiction. Like, how bad can it be? Yes. How bad? How bad could it be, right? Could it be that bad? If you continue further, there will be spoilers ahead, so turn back now or prepare to suffer the consequences. This book has ruined my life, but like, not in a bad way, but like in a 5-star would probably read again kind of way, because I like suffering. So this is a warning. If you decide to actually read Manacled, you will probably need therapy. And possibly an IV drip for hydration, because you, my friend, you will cry, and you will cry a lot. SenLinYu, author, wherever you are, I hope you're proud of yourself. You crushed me, but like, respectfully so. Okay, if you have no idea what Manacled is, let me break it down to you. Imagine the Harry Potter universe, but make it 10 times darker, 50 times more tragic, and with 100 times more emotional devastation. I wasn't a huge Harry Potter fan growing up, neither now, but I've been hearing about this fanfiction for a long time, and everyone is telling me, you have to read it, it's so good. And I'm not a sensitive person when I read books. I usually don't get devastated, I usually don't get sad. But this book devastated me to my core. To my core, I'm telling you. This is not your childhood Hogwarts nostalgia trip, so it's war trauma, other trauma, forced pregnancies, forced sexual assaults, betrayal, memory loss, and so much angst that I think even Shakespeare would be like, damn, are you okay? And like, spoiler alert, no, they're not okay. The story is brilliant, but it's also personally victimized me in a way. But alright, let's get into the actual plot of it, and remember, there is spoilers ahead. There you have time to turn back. So, Voldemort wins the war. Yeah. We start there. We start strong. Let that sink in. Harry, dead. The Order of the Phoenix, dead. Hogwarts, well, basically your graveyard now. The Death Eaters, thriving and doing so well. And our main character, Hermione, oh, she's alive. But barely so. She spent 16 months in solitary confinement, and I don't mean like, oh no, I'm grounded and I can't leave, or I'm in a normal prison. No, no, it's not that kind of confinement. I mean sensory deprived confinement. No lights, no sound, no human contact for 16 months. Just Hermione and her own traumatized brain having a staring context with each other in the dark. So by the time she gets yanked out of the prison for a medical exam, she's like, who am I? What year is it? Is that a human being or a dementor? I have no idea because she was so broken after those 16 months. Then we have our favorite snaked faced guy. You know who? Or Voldemort. After dragging Hermione out of this confinement and prison, he starts to torture her with Crucio, and he goes into her mind to get information about the order. If there's still a plan, if there's still a resistance somewhere, if there's people alive somewhere. But there are some memories that are locked away, and people tell Voldemort there is one chance to get these memories, and he tries with himself to get the memories, but he's not strong enough. Also, Snape tries, but Snape also can't get to them, and also Draco tries but can't get to them. But then there's this idea that if she becomes pregnant, Hermione's barrier or her magic will subside and become weaker, and then they can get the information, because she have locked them really far away in her mind, and Voldemort is 100% sure that these memories are something of value and he needs them. So he assigned her to Draco Malfoy as a surrogate mother. Oh, I have a good idea. Let's just force all the surviving resistance women to become breeders for our pure blood family. Yeah, fun. Very casual. Completely evil government program. Handmaid's Tale? Yes, very much so. And guess who gets assigned to Draco Malfoy, our favorite Death Eater? Yeah, our main character, Hermione. And might I add, this is just chapter 2 of 70. We have a long way to go. Okay, so Manacled is structured, I would say, in 3 parts. These 3 parts are going to destroy you, but in different ways, very unique ways. Some more than others. You have the first part, which is the post-war hellscape, or what you want to call it. Hermione is Draco's personal prisoner and surrogate, and there's a lot of sexual assault happening here, and you have so much unsolved tension that it could almost fuel a small country, but it's also wrong in very many ways. And it is kinda a good war story. What happens to a brain and a human after war, and the trauma that inflicts on humans. In this first part, we start to hate Draco Malfoy a lot, because this is the part where Hermione becomes a surrogate mother. She needs to get pregnant, and so there is this scheduled of forced sexual assault against Hermione from Draco's side, because he needs to follow orders from Voldemort, and you start questioning everything. This is where it's very much like Handmaid's Tale, if you've seen that show or read the book. She is so damaged from the war. She gets a lot of trauma, she starts getting afraid of big spaces and she can't go outside without having panic attacks, and she starts even consider suicide as an option because she's so broken, and all her memories is of torture. People she loved from Hogwarts are dead, and she can see their faces and their contorted bodies that she's seen. Um, and this is just a really sad part of everything. And you start wondering, like, this is really dark. Where is the end? Where is the happiness? Then you have part two, which is the flashbacks, or like I want to call it, surprise! It's even worse than you thought it was gonna be, and you're going to cry, because I cried many times in the middle of the night, and my neighbors probably think I'm crazy. But I'm not crazy, I promise. It's just this fan fiction. In this second part, I was broken in many ways. I feel like this is the part that broke me the most, because in the first part we're in the present and we start hating Draco. Draco is a bad man. He is Voldemort's second hand, and he do unspeakable things to Hermione, which we don't appreciate, of course. But then we get to the flashbacks and we get everything explained to us. We get all those locked memories explained to us. We understand what memories it is Hermione is protecting and who she is protecting. And it's all about the war. We get to follow the war and the Order of Phoenix. She is a healer. She works to heal everyone from being tortured or killed or almost killed by Voldemort and the Death Eaters. She sees a lot of death. She sees a lot of torment, a lot of people being hurt for this war, and she has to heal them. And the healing magic is very, very detailed. I just love how much detail they have put into the healing and the different healing spells. But one day, we also get to know about Draco's background and how it didn't end. The war did not start like it does in the official Harry Potter books, but in this fan fiction, we instead have Voldemort taking Narcissa, Draco's mother, and tormenting her and torturing her to make Draco kill Dumbledore. And this means that he starts the school year, I think it's the 6th school year, with killing Dumbledore in the hallway, and that's what breaks out the war. And Draco is just doing it to have his mother back because his mother is all he has. So he's not doing it to follow Voldemort's orders. He just wants his mother back and for her to not be tormented and crucioed anymore. But even if he do it rather quickly in killing Dumbledore, his mom's mind is still so broken and she dies kind of soon after. And after 2 years in the war, he decides that he had become very close to Voldemort. He is the successor of Voldemort, but he still can't forgive Voldemort for what he have done to his mother. So he goes to the Order of Phoenix and is like, I want to be a double agent kind of thing. I will give you information about where Voldemort will strike and what the Death Eaters will do. Just because he wants revenge from his mom. But they don't really believe him in that sense because they feel like your mom died 2 years ago, why would you do it now? So he decides that he has to have another kind of offer that he wants. It's not just his mother's revenge. And he decides to say that he wants Hermione. Um, he wants her as a prize. He wants to like see her, and that he had a secret crush on her ever since they were like young kids. Um, and the Order of Phoenix asked Hermione if she could be okay with that she could like meet him sometimes and get information from him. It's not explicit said that she's supposed to go there and have sex with him and do the bow chicka bow and get information, but it's more like an it's understood between the lines. And the Order of Phoenix, they kind of tell her like you don't have to, but like please do, because we need every help we can get. And Hermione is 100% into it, and she's like, I will do it. I hate Draco. I hate what he has done to Dumbledore and everything, and I don't trust him, but I will do it for you. And for Harry, and to get the information, because we need to win this war, and any possibility is a good possibility. So she decides to do it, and in a strange way, they're both broken in their own ways, and this is when they actually form a bond to each other. And slowly but surely, they start to understand each other in their meetings to each other, and they actually start feeling for each other and loving each other more and more, which kind of changed all the perspectives of the first part, that everything that he had done, because then you start questioning why he has done what he does in the first book, and why is he still the successor of Voldemort, and what went wrong. But this was definitely the hardest chapters to read for me, because I felt the despair and their relationship to each other, and how they truly tried everything to actually win the war for the right reasons and end Voldemort in every way. And lastly, we have part 3. We are back to present, and we have pieced together all the trauma, all the flashbacks, and we are trying to have a happy ending. And spoiler alert, of course, here, the best case scenario still leave you curled up in a fetal position, because like when people are that broken and that traumatized, sometimes they will not have a happy ending. A bittersweet one, the best you can hope for, sure, but it's still going to be devastating and sad. And it is not what you're hoping for after all those pages of trauma. Let's talk a little bit about our main characters. We have Hermione and Draco. Hermione is the strongest character I have read in a very long time. Like, this woman sacrifices everything to win the war and be by Harry's side. And don't get me started on how much I hate Harry. Like, he is an idiot in the normal Harry Potter books. He is not a very smart idiot either. I mean, come on. And in this book, he's just... I just want to hit him so hard in the head and make him understand some things. But yeah, trying to win a war against people who is torturing the people and killing people, and Harry is just in his mind being all, we're going to win with love and kindness, and we're going to use stipendo and just making them wobbly, and then we will win the war. Yeah, because you can win a war without violence and only love when they're torturing people to death. That makes sense. But this is not about Harry Potter. I'm sorry, I just got sidetracked. But we have Hermione, and she sacrifices everything because she truly believes in Harry. She sacrifices her morals, her body, her entire soul. She scatters her soul and her morals just to be by Harry's side and have Harry win. She makes impossible choices over and over again because someone has to. And if Harry Potter is not going to do it, she's willing to do that. She literally forgets her own memories just to protect the people who's closest to her. Draco, on the other hand, this man is just unhinged on all levels. But he's like in a way where you completely understand why. His background story to why he's doing things, you understand him, but he's still a bad person. He's forced to be a Death Eater, but really, he's just playing a very long and violent game of 4D chess just to protect the one he loves, which in this case is Hermione. But here's the thing though, Draco does horrible things. Hermione does horrible things. But war doesn't leave room for good choices, only survival choices, which is why Harry dies. He only tried to do good choices. He didn't want to be the villain. He didn't want to do bad things. He only wanted to win by doing good choices, use love and kindness to win, which is why he ended up dying. And then you have Draco and Hermione who legit do everything in their power just to survive. You can't justify Draco because he kills thousands of people. Will make you question everything you think you know about morality. What is actually a good choice? What is a bad choice? Is it okay to do certain things just to survive? Is it okay to do certain things to get a good ending? Or have someone do the good thing, but you have to be the bad person behind the scenes for that good person to succeed? Okay, so like, we have to talk about certain scenes. You know the one, you know, the very steamy ones and hot ones, like, oh my god, I don't know how to say it. The ones that made me sit there and gripping my Kindle like really hard, like, oh, okay, wow, okay, this is happening. I even started looking nervously around to see that, you know, the ghost in my very empty apartment wouldn't judge me for reading some of these scenes. But like, listen, I knew going into Manacled it had dark themes. Like sexual assault and the war and the trauma, the PTSD. I was very emotionally prepared for the pain and all of that. What I was not prepared for was the sheer, unrelenting tension between Hermione and Draco. Like, we go from war, trauma, death, torture, and emotional devastation to intensity levels that should be 100% illegal in books. But I feel like they wanted each other just as much as I wanted them to want each other. And I might be a bit embarrassed saying this, but I enjoyed those scenes very, very much. Like, excuse me, SenLinYu, how dare you make my soul ache and set my screen on fire in the same chapter? Like, that should be a crime. I shouldn't be crying and be devastated and have my soul aching and then feel a fire within that's just undescribable. But like, there is a slow burn, absolutely. And it's agonizing, but in the best kind of agonizing ways. And then when the tension finally snaps, oh my god. I had to pause, take a lap, touch some grass, and then reassess my moral compass. Because the thing is, it's not just smut. and steamy stuff for the sake of it. Every scene is so emotionally charged, is messy, desperate, and dare I say heartbreaking even? It's not just about desire, it's about survival, about really loving someone, being that's the only person you can turn to, about holding on to something real in the world that's absolutely crumbling around these two people. And honestly, I feel like it kinda maybe makes it a little bit hotter and steamier that way. I did not expect to feel so many feelings while reading a fan fiction. I've never really read many fan fiction before this, and I feel like the ones I have read have not been on this level, but if this is the level of fan fiction there is out today, I need to read more. Anyway, moving on before I say something that I can't take back about the steamy scenes. But listen, we have established Manacled is dark. Like, hide under the covers and revalue your life choices dark is a wartime story, horrifying, bleak, and absolutely relentless. There are barely any moments of happiness in this fanfiction. And when they do happen, you just know something worse is coming because you're not getting that little imps of happiness if it's not gonna be snagged from you under your feet. But somehow in all the devastation, two broken people manage to find each other. And not just in a trauma bond way, like in a deep, desperate, I will burn the world down for you and only you kind of way. Even though everything has failed them, the war, their friends, the entire universe, they refuse to fail each other. And yeah, their love story is tragic, but it's also breathtaking in a way and very beautiful. It's the kind of love that defies time, faith, and every soul-crushing thing thrown at them. And let's talk about the world building for a little bit, because it is insane. So insane. Like, yes, I know. This is a Harry Potter fanfiction, so the foundation is already there. But SenLinYu, oh, she took off running and built an entire subgenre of dark magic lore to this, and she used the foundation and built something greater. We're talking next level depth, like magical pregnancies, terrifyingly realistic, the Manacled, pure nightmare. Nightmare, I'm telling you. Legilimency, occlumency, expanded to scientific levels. It's so detailed. You have runes, potions, spells, healing magic, unbreakable vows, the lifelong consequences of using dark magic. It's also detailed and thought out. I don't know what kind of research SenLinYu did, but I'm convinced she's probably a Hogwarts professor at this point. The world building is just so seamless. You start thinking like maybe this is canon? J.K. Rowling who? Like, if this is not canon, I feel like it most definitely should be at this point. Manacled is hands down one of the greatest fanfiction I've ever read. I mean, it's one of the few I have also read because I haven't read many fanfictions, but the writing, flawless to me. The world building, genius. Emotional damage, well, yeah, that's permanent. You can't really get through that after you read it. But something we have to talk about. Something on the sadder side. I know, we're getting there. We have to talk about it. It's the ending. The sad ending. It's bittersweet. everyone told me it's not gonna be a good ending. Everyone told me it's bittersweet. You can't. This is the best you're gonna get. You will survive, they said. But you know what? I did not survive. I'm still ruined to this day. I was done with the book a month ago. For a month, I've been devastated and thinking about it. I'm shattered, emotionally obliterated. I don't know if I can function anymore. I tried to talk to my parents about it and they laughed at me and said it was just a book. They don't understand. They don't understand. Like, yes, technically it is a happy ending. But it's not the fairy tale riding off into the sunset type of happiness. It's not like, it's more of a we barely made it out alive and we will never be whole again and we will never be ourselves again, but we kind of have each other and I guess that's good enough, so let's be happy in our own devastated, heartbreaking kind of way. And honestly, it kind of hurts more in a way. They are happy as they can be. They got out, but then there's this one sentence of the end of the book that just crushed me so hard. They wrote a history book on the war that happened, and in one of the last chapters, there is only one line about Hermione and everything that she did for the Order and everything she did as a human. She was behind the curtains. She was not a person on the front, but she did everything. She was basically the person who... She was the person that did everything. She should have gotten the recognition Harry Potter did, but no. The recognition she got was she was a friend of Harry, but she did not fight in the war and she did not fight for the Order. Because everything she did in hiding. And that sentence, like, it makes me tear up just thinking about it right now, and it hurts me. She sacrificed so much for Harry. She sacrificed so much for Ron as well and his family, and for the Order, and she did everything that she could possibly do, sacrificing her soul, her mind, her entire body for being a surrogate mother and everything, to then just be a small footnote in the history books. And it makes me think about, in our world, how many people are heroes and do so much behind the scenes and behind the curtains that we don't give recognition to, and they are everything, but the history books never mentions them, and that makes me sad. Hermione is not the same after this. Draco is not the same. I, as a reader, am not the same after I finished this book. The book changed my brain chemistry permanently, I think. Like, the fact that the only reason the good guys won is because Hermione had to lose herself and lose so much of herself. She gave up everything, her memories, body, soul, for a world that would never truly be hers or recognize what she sacrificed. Draco became the monster and everyone hated him, and he did that just to protect the woman that he loved, Hermione. He would be that monster for her. Their love was forged in suffering, and somehow they still chose each other time and time again. I'm just not okay. You know, after reading this book, how can you be okay? I finished the last chapter and just sat there questioning everything. Who let fanfiction be this good? Who let the author SenLinYu have the right to be this good in fanfiction? This is art. in a different way. This is painful art. This is the best thing I've read in a very, very long time, and I think I will never emotionally ever recover from it. 10 out of 10. I would definitely sob uncontrollably like a baby again and read it all over. I feel like it's worth it. If you haven't read this book, go read it. Do it now. I know I make it sound like this is a really, really horrible book and it's painful to read, but I feel like it's worth it. But if you do decide to read it, maybe you should warn the people close to you that you will be emotionally unavailable for a few weeks and you will probably be very sad, so they know what's going on. Yeah. Well, that's actually everything I have for today. I feel so devastated from this fanfiction, but also I'm so happy I read it. I need to read more, that's for sure. At least now I gotten to say everything I feel about the book and talk about it for a bit, ranting. So if you excuse me, I will go and stare at the wall for 3 to 5 business days and I will be back after that. Thank you for watching this video and listening to my rambling about this fanfiction. If you read it, I would love to hear your thoughts about it. If you decide to read it, please tell me if you also survived. Like, comment, and subscribe, and comment if you survived Manacled, because I didn't. I didn't.